Daily functional movements sustain muscle activity not by challenging the body to exhaustion, but by reminding it of its purpose. Muscles are living tissue that respond to demand, and when that demand disappears, they slowly retreat. In older age, this retreat often begins not because the body is incapable, but because movement becomes optional rather than essential. Simple daily actions such as standing up from the floor, squatting slightly while working, walking with intention, or reaching overhead activate large muscle groups in ways that feel natural and non-threatening. These movements keep muscle fibers awake, especially the slow-twitch fibers responsible for endurance, posture, and stability. Balance is preserved through repetition of ordinary motion rather than specialized drills. When an elder shifts weight from one foot to another while cooking, pauses briefly on one leg while dressing, or turns the head and torso while walking, the nervous system receives continuous feedback. This feedback sharpens coordination between muscles and the brain. Rather than isolating balance as a task, daily functional movement integrates it into life, allowing stability to become a habit instead of an effort. Mobility is also protected through this gentle consistency. Joints rely on motion to stay nourished, and muscles rely on regular lengthening and shortening to maintain elasticity. When movement occurs throughout the day, joints are taken through comfortable ranges repeatedly, preventing stiffness from settling in. This type of mobility does not aim for extremes, it aims for continuity. The body remains capable of bending, turning, and rising because it practices these actions every day without labeling them as exercise. Functional movement respects the aging nervous system by avoiding sudden or excessive strain. The brain feels safe when movement is familiar and predictable. This sense of safety allows muscles to activate fully without excessive guarding. Over time, confidence replaces caution. The body moves with ease rather than hesitation, which further reduces the risk of falls and injury. There is also a metabolic benefit to daily movement. Even light activity improves circulation, supports blood sugar regulation, and reduces low-grade inflammation. Muscles act as metabolic organs, and when they are used regularly, they help stabilize energy levels and reduce stress on internal systems. This contributes to overall vitality without the fatigue that often follows more intense exercise. Perhaps most importantly, daily functional movement preserves independence. When muscles remain active and balance remains reliable, everyday tasks continue to feel manageable. This reinforces a sense of capability and dignity. Movement becomes an expression of life rather than a reminder of limitation. In cultures where elders move often and gently, strength is not measured by performance, but by continuity. The body is not pushed to prove itself, it is invited to participate. Through repeated, meaningful motion, muscles stay engaged, balance stays responsive, and mobility remains woven into daily living as a quiet but powerful form of self-care. Posture-centered habits influence the body continuously, shaping strength and coordination in ways that are often overlooked. Upright posture is not a static position, but an active process involving deep muscles along the spine, hips, and core. When elders maintain natural alignment while sitting, standing, or walking, these stabilizing muscles remain gently engaged throughout the day. This constant low-level activation supports endurance and prevents the rapid decline that occurs when muscles are rarely called upon. The spine serves as the central highway between the brain and the body. When the posture collapses, this communication becomes less efficient. Slouched alignment alters sensory feedback from joints and muscles, forcing the brain to rely on compensatory strategies that reduce movement precision. By contrast, upright posture maintains clear sensory input, allowing the nervous system to coordinate movement with greater accuracy and confidence. Simple habits such as sitting on the floor, rising without using hands, or standing with awareness engage multiple systems simultaneously. These actions strengthen the core, activate the legs, and challenge balance in a controlled manner. The brain remains actively involved in managing alignment and transitions, reinforcing neural pathways that support coordination. This engagement preserves neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and refine its control over the body. Posture also influences breathing. When the spine is aligned, the rib cage can expand more freely, allowing deeper, more efficient breaths. Improved breathing supports oxygen delivery and reduces strain on the cardiovascular system. This relationship between posture and respiration creates a feedback loop in which alignment supports breath and breath supports relaxation and stability. From a biomechanical perspective, good posture distributes load evenly across joints and muscles. This reduces localized stress and prevents overuse injuries. When the body is aligned, movement requires less effort, conserving energy and reducing fatigue. Over time, this efficiency supports greater endurance and willingness to remain active. The psychological effects of posture are equally important. An upright stance influences mood and self-perception, subtly reinforcing confidence and presence. When the body feels supported and balanced, the mind experiences less uncertainty about movement. This reduces fear and hesitation, encouraging continued engagement with daily activities. In cultures that emphasize posture as part of everyday life, alignment is not trained separately from movement. It is embedded in how tasks are performed. This integration ensures that stabilizing muscles and neural pathways are reinforced consistently rather than sporadically. As posture-focused living persists, the body learns to maintain alignment without conscious effort. Muscles coordinate automatically, balance becomes intuitive, and movement flows with less resistance. The brain and body remain in continuous dialogue, refining control through repetition and awareness. Through posture-focused living, elders preserve not only physical stability, but also the neurological clarity that supports graceful movement. The spine remains a reliable conduit for communication, allowing coordination, strength, and balance to evolve together as part of a resilient and integrated aging process.
Gentle joint movement preserves the subtle mechanics that allow the body to move without discomfort or hesitation. Joints are not designed for stillness. They depend on regular motion to maintain their internal environment. When movement becomes rare or repetitive in limited ranges, the tissues surrounding joints gradually stiffen, and the smooth surfaces that once glided effortlessly begin to resist motion. Daily, gentle rotations and controlled reaching restore these natural patterns, reminding joints that flexibility is not optional but essential. Inside every joint, synovial fluid acts as a lubricant and nutrient carrier. This fluid is produced and circulated through movement rather than rest. When joints are moved slowly and comfortably through their natural ranges, synovial fluid spreads across cartilage surfaces, nourishing them and reducing friction. Over time, this process supports cartilage health and delays degenerative changes. Unlike forceful stretching, gentle movement respects the joint's boundaries while encouraging its vitality. Connective tissues surrounding joints respond to consistent low-intensity motion by reorganizing their fibers. Ligaments and fascia adapt by becoming more pliable and resilient rather than brittle. This adaptability allows joints to absorb stress more effectively during daily activities. Instead of reacting to movement with stiffness, tissues become cooperative, allowing motion to unfold smoothly. Gentle joint movement also enhances proprioception, the body's sense of position and motion. Slow rotations and controlled reaching sharpen the brain's awareness of joint angles and muscle tension. This awareness improves coordination and reduces the likelihood of sudden, awkward movements that lead to injury. The brain learns to predict and adjust movement more accurately, reinforcing confidence in the body's capabilities. From a systemic perspective, joint mobility influences circulation and lymphatic flow. Movement stimulates blood flow to surrounding tissues, supporting nutrient delivery and waste removal. It also encourages lymphatic drainage, which helps reduce inflammation and swelling. These effects contribute to overall tissue health and resilience, extending beyond the joints themselves. There is an emotional quality to gentle joint movement as well. Slow, deliberate motion encourages patience and attentiveness, shifting focus from performance to sensation. This approach reduces the tendency to force movement beyond comfortable limits. As individuals become more attuned to their bodies, they develop a sense of trust in their physical sensations, allowing movement to feel safe rather than threatening. In daily life, joint mobility is preserved not through dramatic stretches, but through habitual variation. Reaching for objects at different heights, turning the torso while walking, or rotating the shoulders during routine tasks introduces diversity into movement patterns. This diversity prevents joints from becoming locked into narrow ranges and supports long-term adaptability. Over time, gentle joint movement reshapes how the body experiences motion. Stiffness gradually gives way to fluidity, and pain often diminishes as tissues regain elasticity and nourishment. The body becomes less reactive and more responsive, capable of adjusting to changes without strain. Through consistent, gentle joint movement, elders sustain the flexibility that underlies independence and comfort. Joints remain active participants in daily life rather than obstacles to movement, allowing the body to continue expressing motion with ease, continuity, and quiet resilience as the years unfold. Breath-guided movement influences the body at a level deeper than muscle and joint mechanics, reaching into the systems that regulate stress, recovery, and long-term resilience. Breathing patterns send constant signals to the nervous system about safety or threat. Shallow, rapid breathing activates stress responses, while slow, steady breathing communicates calm. When movement is paired with natural, unforced breath, the body shifts into a state where repair and balance become possible even during activity. The nervous system plays a central role in aging. Chronic activation of stress pathways accelerates wear on tissues, disrupts immune function, and interferes with sleep and digestion. Breath-integrated movement gently counters this pattern by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which governs rest and restoration. As breathing slows and deepens, heart rate becomes more variable and adaptable, reflecting a healthier nervous system capable of responding to change without remaining locked in tension. Movement guided by breath also enhances coordination. When inhalation and exhalation align with motion, muscles activate more efficiently and with less unnecessary effort. This efficiency reduces fatigue and joint strain, making movement sustainable rather than draining. The body learns to move with rhythm instead of resistance, conserving energy and preserving strength over time. From a biochemical perspective, calmer breathing patterns reduce the release of stress hormones such as cortisol. Lower cortisol levels create an internal environment more favorable to tissue repair, immune balance, and metabolic stability.
Inflammation, often elevated by chronic stress, begins to subside. Cells are no longer forced into constant defense mode and can redirect resources toward maintenance and renewal. Breath-guided movement also enhances body awareness. Attention naturally follows the breath, anchoring the mind in the present moment. This awareness sharpens sensory feedback from muscles and joints, allowing movements to be adjusted smoothly. The brain remains engaged without becoming overwhelmed, supporting neural clarity and adaptability. Over time, this mindful engagement strengthens the connection between intention and action. Emotionally, integrating breath with movement fosters a sense of ease and self-trust. The body experiences motion as supportive rather than demanding. This reduces fear, particularly the fear of losing balance or control. As confidence grows, movement becomes more fluid, and the willingness to remain active increases. This emotional shift reinforces consistency, which is essential for long-term health. Sleep quality often improves as a result of breath-focused movement practices. A calmer nervous system transitions more easily into rest, allowing deeper and more restorative sleep. Restorative sleep further enhances hormone regulation, memory consolidation, and tissue repair, amplifying the benefits of movement performed during the day. In daily life, breath-guided movement does not require formal practice. It emerges naturally when walking is paired with steady breathing, when rising from the floor is matched with an exhale, or when gentle stretching follows the rhythm of breath. These small integrations accumulate into meaningful physiological change. Through breath-integrated movement, the body learns that effort and relaxation can coexist. Aging slows not through force, but through harmony between motion and breath, allowing stress to soften, recovery to deepen, and resilience to remain an active living quality within the body as each day unfolds.
Intentional daily movement reshapes aging not by resisting it, but by giving it direction. When movement is approached with awareness rather than urgency, the body interprets it as care instead of demand. This distinction matters deeply in later life. Movements done with intention activate muscles and nerves while preserving safety and confidence. The body responds best when it feels respected, and intention provides that respect by aligning effort with attention. Consistency is the quiet force behind resilience. Daily movement, even when gentle, creates predictable signals that the body learns to trust. Muscles remain responsive because they are asked to participate regularly. Joints stay cooperative because they are moved often enough to avoid stagnation. The nervous system remains engaged because it is continually receiving feedback from purposeful motion. Over time, this consistency stabilizes physical function and reduces sudden declines that often follow long periods of inactivity. Confidence grows naturally from this relationship with movement. When elders move every day without pain or fear, the body builds a memory of success. Each completed action reinforces the belief that movement is still possible and safe. This belief reduces hesitation and avoidance, which are among the strongest contributors to physical decline. Confidence does not come from pushing limits, but from repeatedly meeting the body where it is and moving forward from there. Resilience emerges as the body learns to adapt rather than retreat. Intentional movement exposes the body to manageable challenges that strengthen its ability to respond to stress. This adaptability applies not only to physical demands, but also to emotional ones. Movement becomes a stabilizing ritual, grounding the body and calming the mind. As stress responses soften, recovery improves, and the body becomes better equipped to handle change. There is also a social and psychological dimension to intentional movement.
Daily rituals of motion provide structure and meaning, reinforcing a sense of purpose. Whether performed alone or alongside others, these movements affirm presence and participation in life. The body is no longer something that limits engagement, but something that supports it. Intentional movement honors the natural rhythms of aging rather than fighting them. It recognizes that strength, balance, and flexibility are maintained through relationship rather than control. This mindset encourages patience and curiosity, allowing the body to evolve without fear. When movement is guided by intention, setbacks are met with adjustment instead of discouragement. The cumulative effect of daily intentional movement is subtle but powerful. Physical capacity stabilizes, mental clarity improves, and emotional balance deepens. The body feels reliable, and reliability fosters independence. Each day of movement becomes an investment in future capability rather than a test of present limits. Through intention, movement transforms from a task into a conversation with the body. This conversation builds trust, resilience, and confidence over time, allowing wellness to unfold gradually and sustainably, supporting a life that remains active, engaged, and grounded in the quiet strength of daily motion. If aging were simply a matter of years passing, then longevity would be evenly distributed across the world. Yet in certain places, particularly in Japan, people over 70 move with a quiet confidence that seems to defy expectation. Their strength is not loud, their routines are not extreme, and their movements are not performed in gyms filled with machines. They are woven into daily life, guided by an understanding that the body stays alive by being used gently, consistently, and with respect. Science now helps us understand why these simple movements matter so deeply. The body thrives on daily motion that reinforces function rather than performance. Small, repeated movements stimulate muscles, joints, and nerves without overwhelming them. In Japanese elders, daily squatting, standing, reaching, and walking maintain leg strength, joint lubrication, and balance. These movements preserve muscle fibers that would otherwise go dormant, sending signals to the brain that mobility is still essential. Aging muscles respond not to intensity alone, but to regular reminders that they are still needed. Postural movements play a quiet but powerful role. Sitting on the floor, rising without assistance, and maintaining upright posture engage the core and spine continuously. These actions strengthen stabilizing muscles and protect the nervous system's sense of alignment. Balance is not trained as a separate skill, but as a natural consequence of how the body is positioned throughout the day. The brain remains actively involved in coordinating movement, preserving neural adaptability. Gentle joint rotations and controlled reaching nourish connective tissues. Movement circulates synovial fluid, reduces stiffness, and maintains range without strain. Science shows that joints remain healthier when moved through comfortable ranges daily. This prevents the accumulation of rigidity that often leads to pain and avoidance of movement. Flexibility here is not forced, but sustained through habit. Breathing is inseparable from movement in these daily practices. Slow, natural breathing paired with motion calms the nervous system, reducing stress hormones that accelerate aging. This supports immune function, improves sleep, and enhances recovery. The body shifts from a state of defense to one of maintenance and repair. Perhaps most importantly, these movements are guided by intention rather than urgency. They are not exercises performed to fight aging, but rituals that honor the body's design. This mindset reduces fear, increases consistency, and reinforces the belief that the body is capable at every age. Science increasingly confirms that longevity is supported not by occasional effort, but by daily movement, that respects the rhythm of life. Daily functional movements preserve muscle, balance, and mobility without overwhelming the aging body. Posture-focused habits strengthen the spine, core, and brain-body coordination. Gentle joint movement maintains flexibility and connective tissue health. Breath-integrated motion reduces stress hormones and supports recovery. Intentional daily movement builds resilience, confidence, and long-term wellness.